My mother said the war has been going on for 4 years. I thought it was forever, but 4 years is a long time too. We live in the Republic of Dormas, and the bad people from Erenwald came and attacked. She said that it would be all right, but I heard other people talking at the market, and they said the Erenwald soldiers took over most of our country, and our city is one of the last ones left. Mercenaries came to the city and said they're here to protect us until more soldiers can get here. They're called the Steel Falcons, and their captain is named Alyssa. She looks a little scary, but I think she's probably nice. She saw that I looked scared and told me they'll keep us safe. I hope that they can, because the people in the market said the Erenwald soldiers are only a few days away. They said they don't know if our soldiers will get here in time. And even though the mercenaries are here, people are disappearing. And I'm afraid of the Erenwald soldiers, but I think there might be something worse. My mother said there's going to be an eclipse soon, and she seemed worried. I think there's something out there in the dark, and I don't know if any soldiers or mercenaries can help us.
Hello, and welcome to Valraven, the Chronicles of Blood and Iron. And we are Critfail, and we are doing this in conjunction with the World Anvil Publishing. And a big thank out to them for the opportunity to show you their new game. This has been translated from Italian and is coming to English soon. I am Ghost, and I am the Master of the Chronicles, and I am joined by some other of the Critfail crew.
Hi, I'm Emily, and I'm playing Zeska the Witch.
Hi, I'm Special Petrogus, and I'm Hadrick the Lieutenant.
Hi, I'm Adam, aka Raven Insane, and I am playing Dirk the Shadow Agent.
And for this adventure, we will be doing the Quickstart. The war has dragged on. The confidence of victory has slowly turned to one of a fighting withdrawal, with refugees heading to Widmar has complicated the supply and roads. Widmar has become a fortress town and one of the last bastions of defense. Somewhere out there, the Erenwald army approaches. Clashes with their advance scouts has already occurred, and this has led to the captain of the Steel Falcons, Alyssa, to order more patrols from her already tired and overextended forces. You have been patrolling since dawn, and luckily have not encountered any of the enemy's forces. Unluckily, it has been raining, and as dusk approaches, you find yourselves nearing the end of your patrol.
I would say we're in the wedge formation. Leading the wedge is Hadrick. Clad in steel armor with obvious makeshift reinforcements in some of the weak spots. A longsword clad with a cloth around the hilt. Anything on the left?
Dirk, who stands slightly taller than Hadrick, with his ruggish good looks. He has a eye patch over his left eye. He sort of scratches it as water seeps in from the rain that's drizzling down from above. His left hand, he flicks his stiletto dagger around. It glistens. Nothing on this side, boss.
And the right?
And the figure walking along behind on the right is the shortest by far, probably because she is also the youngest by far, and is trailing perhaps a tiny bit behind as she is slightly struggling to walk through the mud. She has her hood of the cloak pulled up against the rain. But there are a couple messy curls sort of tumbling out from around the hood. She will turn and scan the right side, turn back, and almost pause for a moment, and then look back in the direction of the right. I don't see anything, but did you hear that?
Did
Nope.
we hear what?
Someone screamed. Over that way.
No, must have been a bird squawking in the distance, perhaps.
I know what birds sound like, Dirk.
I'm not going to impose a security risk because of a parrot. We're going to go investigate that.
This way. And she will turn in the direction that the scream was coming from and begin heading there.
You travel about 150 meters and start to come to the edge of the forest and into a glade. Ahead, you can see a group of people in the clearing. There is an old man on his knees and he has scars that cover his face. A young man is straining against a large man who has pinned his arms, and blood runs from the younger man's nose. A young woman is on her back in the mud with a brute atop her. A total of 6 thugs have corralled the refugees. The thugs, which are 4 men and 2 women, and they are armed with a mix of maces and swords. Their armor and tunic are stained and worn, but through the grime you can see the crest of Erenwald. The old man is yelling, "Yes, yes, take the woman, take her! Just don't hurt me!" So this will be moving into an exchange.
Zeska is going to produce from within her cloak a very sharp-looking sickle, and she turns to look at Hadrick, the lieutenant, who is at least technically in charge of this very small unit, and seems to be looking for a go-ahead.
We'll fight back to back. You're the best of the best.
Can I go stab someone, yes or no? Okay, Zeska wants to run and stab or slash at. I suppose stab is not quite right. Zeska wants to run with her sickle towards the man who has pinned the woman to the ground.
Okay, now, there is 6 thugs in total, 4 men, 2 women, and they have an opposition level of 4. The
Okay.
Master of the Chronicles is allowed to adjust this number 1 up or 1 down. In this case, because the players have surprise and the thug that Zeska is going for is both unaware but also on his knees, I will lower for him the opposition level to 3.
All right. Would you agree
Yes.
with me that ferocity would be an acceptable attribute to go slash someone with a sickle with?
I would say so.
Well, Zeska has a ferocity of 4, which if you have bumped this guy's opposition level down to 3, puts me exactly where I need to be for just a standard outcome, which is I am perfectly fine with that. So I am not going to roll or use anything that would give me additional successes if that is all right with you.
That is absolutely fine. These particular thugs have a wound of 1. So,
Okay.
how would you like to dispatch this individual?
As soon as Hadrick says that it is fine to move on this group of Erenwald soldiers, Zeska is going to dart forwards. She is heading first for the man who has pinned the woman to the ground. And having a sickle in her hand, she is simply going to slash the back of his neck as hard as she can as soon as she gets close enough. And, as was her hope and intent, after letting out a brief gurgling sort of shriek, he does fall into the mud beside the woman.
She starts to, on her elbows and pushing with her feet, push away from him and tries to scoot back in the mud away from the group as much as she can, which is difficult and she doesn't get far. One of the thugs throws the young man that he was holding to the ground. They are shocked at this little blight of danger that has leapt out of the darkness and caused death and destruction. And some of them are looking in the direction that she had come from. It is another player action.
Hadrick would like to go for the guy on top of the boy? Or young man? What was it?
Okay, so he threw him to the ground. So you want to go for the guy that was pinning him? That correct?
Yes.
Like, okay. They have an opposition level of 4.
So ferocity, I would assume?
If it's physical, it's ferocity, yes.
So with 2, that means I get 2 base success. I need to roll 3 dice, correct?
Yes. If you want to have
For
a
a standard
standard
one.
success. Yeah.
Yeah. If you're okay with the cost, you could roll 4. And this should just be standard dice, yeah?
No ones.
Nice. Success.
Hadrick will run up, and with a right hook, hit him right in the jaw. He stutters back. Hadrick will grab him by the shoulder, turn him towards the rest of the thugs, kick him on his knees, and plunge his sword deep in the back. And almost an intimidation technique.
As he dies, he is very intimidated.
Well, more towards the other ones.
I thought so. To get an outcome with an increment, you need 2 more than the opposition level, which in this case would be 6.
Okay. Dirk, as he toys with his stiletto dagger in his left hand, beckons for one of them, or all 3 of them, to move towards him. One of the... do they all come, or does one of them come?
3 of them.
Okay.
Of the 4 left? right.
There's 3 of the 4. Yay, Dirk. Okay. The first of them thrusts with his sword. And Dirk parries, getting in close, and
What's your base?
because I am thinking of using my Art of War gift called the Dance of Death, where I can, if I get an outcome with increment when attacking or defending, I can move several feet to attack a new target. And using ferocity, my base is 3, so I will need to roll, 3 dice?
Yes, you will.
How confident of me.
And he hits.
Slices the air in front of him with his stiletto and slashes the first woman in the throat. Steps past her as blood spurts out over her, and I'm going for just an outcome. Standard outcome. So that's
All right.
2 dice.
So rolling 2 this time, yeah.
He thrusts upwards, bringing the stiletto dagger straight through the soft point of her chin. And the dagger pierces through into her brain and exits out the top of her head. He lets go the dagger and slides his hand within the folds of his cloak, drawing another hidden dagger, ready to face the male opponent, who's now straightening himself from the little stumble that was caused.
And with a cry, he will spin and try to embed the spiked mace that he is carrying within Dirk. Give me a defense check.
I'm going for an outcome with increment.
So you'll need a 6.
6.
So
base operate-
my base is 3 with ferocity. If I'm,
Yep.
or could I go cunning? No, that's probably more for intellectual stuff, right? Okay, so my base is 3, as my ferocity is 3, and I shall
You
roll
need to roll 3.
3 dice.
I haven't
Success.
failed yet. Not a
How do you
single
avoid
fail.
it?
The Erenwald thug raises his spiked mace, parries the mace out of the way, and it slides from the grip of the thug as the thug stumbles to the ground,
Okay.
cursing himself that his mace is now a good 4 feet away from him, buried in the soft ground.
New round, player action. As the exchange continues. There is 2 thugs left.
I would like to go
Oh, sorry.
Nope.
You want to go ahead? Or try to,
4.
Yep.
Ooh, a 6. But that doesn't matter. Success though.
Mhm.
So how many successes do you have total?
2. Or 2 from the roll. Yeah. Sorry. 4, 2 from the roll.
This is you succeed with cost.
Correct. Adric will spin around and just with a wild swing, slice right at around his waist.
And your blade buries itself deep within the thug, causing a mortal wound, but the blade is wedged in the bone. The last of the thugs attacks Hadric with a wild swing of his longsword. Give me a defense check. The opposition level is 4.
If you're okay with the cost, you can just roll 2, and you're at least slightly more likely to.
Oh.
Oh, our first failure.
And his blade smashes against your armor, and you feel some pain. You take 1 wound.
Zeska, seeing the opportunity to dash over to him, raise her sickle over her head and bring it down into him. It is 4 as the. Hey, why not? I'll roll 1 and try and go for a standard outcome. I have 4 as my base, but I've not rolled yet, so I might as well. You look confused. Did that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Hey, that'll give me a standard outcome. So she brings the point of the sickle down into his chest, and she's not quite sure whether he is dead, but if not, he will likely bleed to death soon. She's not stopping to watch. She will pull her sickle back out of him and walk to rejoin the others, because that should be the last of the enemies.
It is indeed. The young teen male scrambles across and grabs a dagger and kneels in front of the girl, holding the dagger towards you three. And the old man is on his knees. Don't kill me! Don't kill me!
If we were going to kill you, why would we have killed them all first? They were going to... It would have been easier to wait.
Seem to know quite what to make of that.
Patrick would like to yank his sword at the dead guy.
You seem disappointed, Dirk. Did you want us to leave them alive?
Well, they're obviously here to do wrong, and the punishment has to fit the crime. And I feel this was maybe perhaps a little too quick for my liking.
We're not a band of savages or a mercenary group. We're professional. And that overconfidence was not very professional.
And Dirk looks a little bit confused.
You three don't look like you're from Erenwald. We're not going to hurt you.
And the old man said, No, we're not. I'm from Widmar.
Why are you out here? You should know it's not safe.
No, it's not safe. There's thugs and ne'er-do-wells. I try to find refugees and lead them to safety.
So these two are refugees then?
Yes, they were coming from the north, he points.
And you were about to offer the girl as what? Payment?
No, I would not do such a heinous thing. We were outnumbered. We have no weapons.
I'm going to use another gift from my dark past. I am skilled at evaluating others. I'm going to spend 1 soma to use my gift Eyes on the World. And that is once per scene when you meet a new group of subjects. You can spend 1 soma to immediately figure out who is the most and least capable among them. The MC will also reveal to you the strongest relationship present between 2 individuals in the group, such as love, friendship, or loyalty, which you are able to understand from their body language.
The most capable is the old man. The strongest emotion is love between the 2 teens, which, although both covered in some mud, bear a striking resemblance to each other.
If you are not prepared to defend refugees, then why have you decided you are capable of leading them?
I'm a good tracker. I know the back ways. This was purely unexpected. We've very rarely come across enemy troops. I did not know they've come this far. It's only a couple of hours from the Widmar itself. They've not shown themselves to be this close.
And Zeska's going to turn to look at Hadrick. We should take them back.
Yes. It looks like we're clear.
Then you should come with us. If there's
Gladly.
anyone else, we can fight them.
Very capable. I'm very impressed.
Have the two younger people gotten up? Like, are they standing or are they still sitting in the mud?
They're still looking rather fearful of the three which have unleashed ultimate death upon people that they definitely saw as unsavory, but at the same time, they do not seem to be trusting of you either.
Zeska will put her sickle back underneath her cloak where it is less immediately a threat, and is going to try and walk closer to those two. If they look like they're gonna flee, she will stop, but she's just trying to go see if they are injured.
He looks to be definitely in a fight or flight conundrum at this point. He's definitely afraid. The dagger is shaking in his hand slightly, and he's obviously trying to work out the best course of action in what is now a very limited amount of time for him.
We're not going to hurt you. You wanted to go to Widmar, right?
He nods.
We can take you there, and if anyone else tries to hurt you, we can stop them.
Me? Position check.
What's his opposition level?
It is 5, but I will lower it to 4 because you're small and being unassuming and actually saying what he wanted to happen. It's just a case of, does he trust you enough to follow through with that?
All right. I have a 4 in empathy. I will try and roll to get 1 additional success to succeed with no cost. If I fail, that will be really sad, but I'll try not to.
Oh, no.
No! Aw, I failed.
You feel that he wants to believe, but he is, at the moment, definitely afraid. There's people that have come unalive around him. The threat of what was going to happen before. There's been a lot of stress in the very short, immediate time preceding.
She's gonna see this and sigh a bit. And she's gonna sit down in the mud, becoming even smaller, and just sort of look at them and go, "Look, we can't leave you here, because if we do, you're probably going to get killed by something, and that kind of goes against the job we've been hired for, which is keeping Widmar and the people in it safe. You're not really in it, but you're going there, so I'm going to count that. What will make you not trust us? You don't need to trust us, but you can't stay here."
Dirk walks over, unclips his leather cloak, revealing a very worn leather jacket underneath, and tosses it to them, and kneels down, squats down next to Zeska. It's wet out. He looks up at the drizzling rain. You, brother and sister, I assume? Some relation.
And he nods.
You know, this one, his head sort of gawks towards Zeska. This one here we found in the bowels of shite. Where was it again? He looks up at Hadrick.
Erenwald camp.
An Erenwald camp. That's right.
2 years now.
Yeah, and this little she-devil, she's been with us ever since. So, you're safe with us.
I already told them we're not going to kill them, but they're still scared.
Well, we can't stay here. I don't know if there's more. And he is standing up, continue to look out to the forest.
I told them that too.
If we wanted you dead, you'd be dead.
I don't know if that's reassuring.
And slowly the girl climbs to her feet, and with that, Abel, the male twin, looks uncertain, but he stands up, and she wraps the jerkin around her shoulders. Abel, and he nods towards the girl. My sister, Isadora.
Hmm.
He lowers the blade, but it's still sort of pointing in your general direction. He does not seem comfortable with removing that form of protection, even though he is well aware it's really no protection at all.
Ah. And Dirk looks down at Zezka. Someone you can play with. He stands up, turns.
I don't need to play with people. I've got Bianca.
You.
And a small head pops out of her hood next to her head, and a little white ermine is staring at you, almost offended.
Well, I mean, seriously, you could have led with the small edible thing. And
She's not edible.
all things are edible.
Then you're edible.
Of course I'm edible. I mean, I would not eat me, but if I died in the wilderness, you might have a wolf or a dog or a stray cat.
You're not eating Bianca. If you try, I'll eat you.
No doubt you would, little devilish child. Show them the little critter,
Abel,
and we'll be on our
Abel,
way.
who was looking somewhat reassured, is now not quite so sure of the sanity or safety of the people that he is with.
Oh, look, I can't deal with kids. All right, let's sort out this mess amongst yourselves. You're either coming with us or you're not.
They are. And Zeska's gonna stand up out of the mud. Alright, and Zeska's just going to... She's not gonna try and get too close to the twins because they're clearly still cautious, but she is gonna make sure they are coming in the same direction as us.
Yep. The darkness of evening has closed in, and the journey back is uneventful, but a dreary drudge back to Widmar still happens. You are waved through the main gate and shortly return to the barracks outside the main stronghold. There are several soldiers and attendants. They are looking at you and at your entourage that you have returned with.
We have 3 new ones. Haldrick will call out. Or Hadrick.
And an orderly will come over and say, we don't have much, but we can give them some food and warmth.
These two need that. He might need to talk to someone. He says he's been bringing refugees into the city, but he doesn't seem equipped for it.
And he turns and looks at one of the soldiers and snaps his fingers, and they come over and he says, you know where to take him? We will interview if you will kindly go with this man. And The old man looks, this is not a great scenario, but at the same time, he doesn't want to try to fight any of these, so he sort of solemnly nods and heads off. And the attendant looks at the two and says, "If you'll please come with me, I will get you some food and a place at the fire."
Don't worry, they won't kill you either.
And Abel nods and leads his sister after the attendant.
Zeska's gonna turn to Dirk and Hadrick and say, "The old man is strange."
He is a man playing for himself.
He is too quick to say what he thinks people want to hear.
Master manipulator, then.
I wonder.
Seems odd for... I guess in some way, maybe, and maybe not.
The girl never said a word. The brother talked very little too, but she... I think she was more afraid.
Afraid of him
But
or
not
afraid of
just-
us?
Not of him. Us, maybe. Something seemed off.
Off as in they've made the wrong decision. Off as in...
If I knew, then I would say.
For all we know, they could be royalty.
Well, then, if they are, I'm sure someone needs to be very grateful to us.
A coin. I like that idea.
Do you not get paid enough already?
There's never enough money in the world to satisfy my desires. I'm a betting man. I win more than I lose.
And a door opens, and a young orderly enters. He is rather neatly attired, and he looks around the room and sees you and walks over. "The captain will see you now."
Hedrick will nod and start moving.
Zeska will follow.
The old throne room of a lord long since gone is now the war room. The glory days of the Kingdom of Karnwald have faded, but remnants remain. A large oak table dominates the room, and a tapestry map of Valraven hangs from the wall, and the banner of the Steel Falcons is proudly on display. The firelight is flickering off the armor of a woman, and she watches your approach. The redness of her eyes a testament to her endurance through lack of sleep. And upon the table is a stack of documents that she has been reading. Next to her is the company's adjutant. Damon is well organized and is credited with the day-to-day functioning of the company, so much so that he is called the Shadow of Rye. Your captain, Alyssa of Rye, walks to meet you, and she leans against the table. Now, in a regular campaign, Alyssa of Rye would be a support NPCs, and support NPCs are a very important NPC which will add flavor to your campaign. These are built with player involvement. They're not just created by the master of the Chronicles. It is a joint effort. So in this case, we have 3 questions, one for each character to answer. These answers are considered a truth of sorts. They may be not necessarily the actual truth, but certainly the truth of how the character sees it. It could also be actual truth. It really will just depend. So, for Hadrick, when has Alyssa shown that she is a good leader?
She leads her men off into her own fault, endangering herself. But he deeply respects that.
Zeska,
Yes.
why doesn't Alyssa of Rye fear magic?
I think, or Zaska thinks, or both, that it is because she is very practical and she sees things not necessarily as this is something unusual, it is something to be afraid of, but this is something unusual, but if we can make use of it for our mercenary company, then this could be a strength rather than something to shun. And considering, as far as I know, Zeska would be the only one in this group with any magic, that is probably very specific to Zeska. She also just might not be scared of children. I don't know. Even weird magic ones. But I think it's just she's like, hey, could be useful as long as we can make sure she doesn't murder us all.
And Adam is smiling now, but Dirk, what does Alyssa of Rye know about your past deeds, and yet she still trusts you?
Yes, because the path to captaincy is never entirely straight. She knows, or even hinted at the removal of one of her superiors, or needing to be removed.
This is something she knows about you.
Yes. Well, she may have dropped the hint that one of her superiors, incompetent as he was, needed to be removed from the hierarchy. So, Dirk.
And was he?
Dirk may have been involved, but she can surely guarantee she knows that he was involved, that this guy ended up disappearing in a most unfortunate manner and wound up being found floating as a corpse in a nearby river.
And she looks at you and she says, you are the last of the day patrols that have come in. What do you have to report?
3 refugees, 6 dead. Not refugees, that is. Combatants.
Erenwald.
Oh, yes. So we came back with a old man and 2 kids, brother, sister, twins.
And she nods. It was the right thing to do, but more mouths to feed in an already stretched supply line.
Have you heard of refugees paying for passage to get into the city rather than away from here?
Unfortunately, yes. Anytime there is the chance of profiting, people will do so.
The old man seems like he's taking advantage of people who want to get into the city. When we came upon them, he was telling the Erenwald soldiers to take the girl and let him live.
Cowardice comes in many forms, as does desperation. He would not be the first, and he will not be the last. And she motions to the map that is hanging, a rather impressive tapestry of the region. And she points. North of Widmar, a camp was discovered by one of our scouting parties. It was a small scout group, but one that was dressed all in black, and they fought like demons. We were unable to kill many, and all they had upon them was a gold coin and a dark knife. She takes a coin and puts it on the table next to her.
Was the scouting party from the company or the town guard?
It was one of our scouts, not from the city.
Dirk picks up the coin and flicks it in the air, lands in the palm of his hand, and he slaps it on the back of his other hand and he looks down. This could be the company of the Black Knives.
Who are they?
Well, mercenaries like us, but the jobs they take are more hitman for hire sort of thing, spy, steal secrets. I had a run-in with the leader once. What was his name again? And Dirk scratches his head. Derek, I believe. Or was it Eric? If they're around, then chances are they're after a high-value target.
And she nods as she takes the information in.
That could be you.
Me?
Not you.
I was going to say I'm not that high value.
We will see about getting some more guards. It means cutting some of their rest periods down, though.
When are the reinforcements supposed to get here?
Last week, the rains, though, by all accounts, have been across the region, making road travel slower.
I suppose that stalls Erenwald too, at least.
A delaying for both sides. But not really a reprieve.
Well, the Black Knives don't stop at what they do. They keep going until their mission is met. Or they're
So
ordered
what, we
otherwise.
find them? Kill them?
Gold is not accessible to everybody. I am assuming they are hired only by the nobles and the wealthy.
Noblemen, the wealthy, religious leaders, politicians, anyone who has access to more money than what the common folk would, of course. Have you done something to begrudge someone of late?
You do realize she is the leader of the most sought-after mercenary company. And they are at war with us.
With the captain gone, this city would be destabilized as a whole, unless you're suggesting you know someone who could step up and lead the company.
Not as good as the good captain here.
I can't think of anyone who'd do as good a job, so...
I will be cautious. And in the background, you see a soldier has appeared at the doorway. Damon walks over to him, and there is a hurried conversation before Damon turns and walks over to the group. I am sorry to interrupt, but there is a situation. I have just been informed that the girl that you have brought in has killed 2 of our guards.
What?
Alyssa looks at you and says, I was going to let you clean up and rest, but instead, I'm afraid I need you to go see what this is about.
We'll have to clean up this mess.
Do we know where that girl is?
Yes, she's in the common room. Or was.
Zeska's gonna start heading for the common room since
Yep.
Captain said to go deal with this.
And you enter the common room. There are some chairs tipped over, there is metal plates and cutlery scattered across the floor, and a blanket covers two bodies on a table.
Is there anyone alive in the room?
There are 5 soldiers here, 3 male and 2 female. One of the males is wounded.
What's happening?
And one of the female soldiers says, I don't know what happened. The girl went mad and killed Anne-Marie and Carl.
Are these like mercenary?
Yes.
She wouldn't just kill people for no reason. Those two were terrified.
I don't know what to tell you, little miss.
We are looking at the evidence right in front of us.
I want to use a gift.
Okay.
I have the gift Red Eyes,
Okay.
and I can spend a soma to activate it. I see the world from a spirit's perspective and can choose between learning a variety of information. I want to use getting a clue about a secret a target is keeping. They only get a chance to resist this if they are particularly powerful. So if you feel this guard is particularly powerful, then I'll roll for it. Otherwise, I just learned something.
So what do you want to know?
I want to get a clue about a secret she's keeping. I feel like she's acting nervous and not telling us something. Zeska pauses and stares at the guard who's speaking, and for a moment, her eyes seem to flash red. And then she frowns slightly and says, You're lying. What happened?
Give me a position check.
All right. Can I use empathy?
I think so.
Okay, what's the opposition level?
4.
I'm gonna just try and roll 1 to get a standard outcome and really hope I don't fail like the last time I said I would do this, but gonna give it a go.
Oh,
I swear,
no.
I failed. Just
If you roll 20 dice, you get no 1s. You roll 1, you get a 1.
both times.
You feel that although you're compelling, your short stature, and she's clearly worried about something. And that is, at the moment, higher than answering you.
Someone did something to set her off.
And you're sure of this?
Yep. Zeska will look at the lieutenant. They're lying.
When you signed the contract, do you remember what the punishment was for lying to your superior?
You can give me a position check. Your opposition level is 3.
I think he could also use charisma since he's giving an order.
Yes.
That's 4, so I automatically succeed.
Standard?
Yes.
Looks nervous, and she sort of motions absently as if she doesn't want to look at the corpse. She says, Anne-Marie and some of the boys were off duty and, well, they'd been drinking, sir. They were riling each other up and they were teasing the new ones. It was initially all just good-natured, you understand, sir, but it went a little bit too far and the brother took offence. Carl put him in his place and Anne-Marie was going to teach the girl to show some respect. That's when she went mad. Her eyes, they turned a bright red. I swear upon my grandmother, they were this weird red colour. And then she killed Anne-Marie and Carl. Tyle over there, he got wounded. The girl, she escaped. The brother tried, but we've got him locked in the storeroom.
And why were you trying to do this? These civilians do not fall under our jurisdiction. We're to protect them.
Yes, sir. She doesn't really seem to know what to say.
Dirk's looking under the blanket at the bodies. How were they killed?
One seems to have some crushed ribs, which may have punctured a lung. The other one is missing half of his face.
I just like that there's the lieutenant and a child glaring at guards, and then Dirk's like, how did they die?
Well, he's more curious about, the little killer than he is about rules and regulations.
The chest wound would have required strength, but the face wound is horrific. Several inches deep and torn the top half of the face completely off.
Interesting. What weapon did this? And he points to the destroyed face of one of the dead.
And she doesn't look back, she just says she did.
What? With a blade? With a crushing hammer?
No, sir, with her bare hands.
Interesting. We have a little mini killer among us.
Is the injured guard still here?
Yes, he's sitting on a table holding his arm, and it's bleeding. It could be broken.
Patrick will look over to him. You're relieved. Go find a doctor. You four, go tell the captain what you told me and sound much more professional. She will not be happy to hear this.
And
Don't lie again.
And she looks rather intimidated. And she says, yes, sir, little miss. We sent for a medic, but we've not been able to find one yet. And she hurries off to report, like ordered.
If her brother is still here, we should ask for his version, perhaps.
That is our only lead.
Sure. He might know exactly what kind of person his sister is.
Where did they say the brother was?
Storeroom.
Storage room.
If we don't need to do anything else here, I guess Seska will head to the storage room.
Storage room.
You get to the storeroom, and it looks like it's been here for a long time. It's a wooden door. It's got different scratches in it. One of them says Nicole was here. It is not. It is locked, but the key is in the lock.
And are there any guards or anything?
There is no guards. All the guards have been sent away now. apart from Tile, who's sitting there holding his arm.
Kyle?
He didn't come with you. He's
Hmm.
over on the desk.
Okay, Zeska's gonna open the door because she assumes if he's gonna try and kill her, she can probably kill him first, but no conversation's gonna be had through this door, so...
The storeroom is a collection of wooden shelves, and what would have once have been a very well-stocked larder is now far more bare. You can see the lad is sitting in the far corner, and drops of blood create a path across the floor to where he is sitting.
Since they didn't say he had injured anyone, Zeska's assumption is this is his blood, so she's going to go see what has happened.
And he jumps as she touches him, and she can see that he has a very nasty facial wound that goes through both of his cheeks. And the skin is hanging loosely from both sides.
Who did that?
And he doesn't say anything, but Tile from outside calls, "I didn't see it, but they said he did it to himself."
Why would he do that?
"I don't know. I thought it was odd myself. Ow. I thought it was odd myself."
Zeska is going to whirl around. Are the other two also in the storeroom or outside of it? Where are they at?
I would have gone.
We need the healer now. Someone decided to slash the boy's face open. They say he did it. They're lying again.
And you're sure about this?
Have a look. Do you think he did that to himself?
I've seen people do much worse to themselves. But a boy of that age to do that is quite impressive, if it was himself.
There's a healer in the city. We can take... We might as well take both of these. Gertrude. I've met her before. With your permission, sir.
Go ahead.
Well, I cannot go on my own unless you expect me to help both of them along.
I was saying go ahead. I like permission. I wasn't saying go by yourself.
All right. She's going to turn back to Abel. I am very angry, but I am not angry at you. You have no reason, it seems, especially now, to trust us. But we are taking you to a healer. Are you going to come along, or do we need to drag you there?
He nods.
And she will extend a hand to help him up if he needs it.
And he takes it.
All right, she will turn to look at the lieutenant, because we also need to organize the bringing of a guard with a broken arm, I think.
He will go over to him, and you're telling the truth about not seeing it?
It was coming in through the doorway, and he nods to the door. Just as I got in the doorway, I guess it was the sister, slammed into me. I hit the wall, and he points out there. There's a brick wall. She knocked me 4 feet solid into that wall. That's where I hurt my arm. That was the end of the confrontation. Everything else had already happened. She was fleeing. And he nods down the street. That way. Possibly the lower end of the city.
And who told you he did it himself?
He goes, hang on, I've forgotten their names.
Hermione, they were talking about the wound. I didn't see when that happened. I think that incident happened in the scuffle just before I arrived.
We can look for her, but we have to get to the healer first.
Hedrick will offer him a hand.
And he gladly takes it. He does seem to be in a fair amount of pain. It's not a compound fracture. It's not sticking through the arm or anything, but it does. You get more of a sense that he is not hiding what happened to him.
All right. Zeska wants to lead the way into the city to the house of a healer she is aware of.
New scene. The Kingdom of Karnwald was once a thriving region. Now, ravaged by war, slowly the war has taken its toll, and its population grew with refugees and the desperate. The city is in deep decay. The lower city is dirty and the people are huddled together along the street and any available space that they can possibly find. You see a small shack made of old wood with the words Gertrude Pottery is before you. A line of sick and injured are waiting to be seen. So, I can give you have 2 choices here.
Okay.
You can wait to be seen,
Okay.
or you can try to jump the line, which has an opposition level.
Zeska wants to try and jump the line because she's worried about the amount of blood coming out of the face of Abel. Her method for this is basically just going to be gesturing to his face and glaring at everyone in line, being like, is your mouth hanging half off your face? No, we get to go first. And if they question this, she's going to pull we're from the company of the Steel Falcons thing.
It is an opposition level of 5.
Okay. Have to roll for this one, so let's see if I can actually manage a roll for once.
Ugh, there's a line. Do you want me to stand behind you and look imposing?
I succeeded. He can still look
Yeah.
imposing if he wants.
Haha.
Because you didn't roll 1 dice.
No, yeah, so I have a standard outcome. One, I could have had
Okay.
outcome with cost, but I decided, yeah, if I roll
And-
1, apparently I'll always fail.
No one stops you, although there is much grumbling and unhappy looks from people who are waiting.
I understand your frustration, but I don't think any of you are about to bleed out.
The room within the shack smells of alcohol and overcooked meat. An old woman with tired eyes from years of hardship is hunched over a boy laying on a wooden table. She is strapping a wounded knee. A nasty-looking sore covered in blood and flesh is on the table where the boy's leg would have normally been. A woman is holding the boy's hand, but she has no more tears to shed. The old woman turns and looks at you. She recognizes Zeska. What do you want?
Healing. Not for me. And she gestures at the soldier and the boy.
And she motions to a couple of chairs. Sit there. I'll get to you when I finish here.
Hadrick will help the man sit down.
And after she finishes with the amputation of the boy's leg, they pick him up and take him to a small cot off to the side. The old woman comes over and tends to both of them. The work is functional from Zeska's point of view, a little industrial rather than medical, but it works. However, Zeska feels more healing has taken place than is physically possible, especially when she has knitted the teen's face back together. It is obviously still requiring the stitches, and it is definitely still a bad wound, but the two flaps of skin are holding together a bit more neatly than Zeska thinks they should under normal circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
There is 2 opposition level position checks that can be made. One by Dirk, which is a perception check of sorts, and one by Zeska, which is a magic of sorts.
Opposition level 2?
Opposition level 6 for you, 4 for
Oh.
Dirk.
Okay. 6 for me. Okay, I have to roll 2 to get with cost or 3 to get without. So I rolled 3 dice.
Yep.
And succeeded on all of them, which gives me standard outcome.
Okay.
I'm going to use my cunning, which is 4, so I'll succeed, but with an outcome of cost.
For Zeska, you and the old woman Gertrude both twitch your heads in the same direction at the same time as you detect something. It's not something that you can put your finger on. You know it is magical in nature, and it is something very dark. It is almost like if it was a hot day, but a cold breeze just suddenly hit you.
She is going to look to Gertrude and without giving the context, I suppose, because she can tell that Gertrude will know to what she is referring, just say, "Do you know what that was?"
And she's wiping blood off her hands, and she throws the cloth onto the table. People are going missing. There's some sort of cult trying to recruit the disenfranchised, of which there's many. We've seen cults. This is different.
Has that happened before?
Once or twice. And Dirk, this does not apply to inside the building. You have a feeling. It's almost like as you're just absently doing what you're doing, your brain is sort of playing with just memories and just images. And you're thinking about outside when you were looking imposing, and you can't track it down because you can't work out where or what they look like, but you suddenly have a feeling. It's almost just like a realization as you're just sort of playing over, when I was outside and the people were there and that person was there, and that you were being watched.
Hmm.
And watched rather than looked at. You were definitely looked at by the group that was in line. That's not what you felt.
Hmm.
You felt you were watched.
Dirk, feeling a little bit uneasy, will slyly make his way back towards the, I'm assuming, an open door where there's people waiting outside, and just...
Yep.
Yeah. He might try and retrace his steps and walk back outside and walk out and have a look at the line and maybe do a simple apologetic, sorry guys, we won't be long, and just look around without being too noticeable.
Where did you go?
Jeez. Scared the life out of me, you. Boss, sir. I just can't shake the feeling that was... I just wonder if the Black Knives are here already in town.
They don't do anything. The Black Knives, they don't know magic, do they?
Not that I know of. But why they'd be interested in this little thing, I don't know. The cult and the Black Knives. If it's not one thing, it's another. Food shortages, slashed faces, heads exploding. The Erenwald invading.
Has she sort of patched up both of them?
Yes, they're finished.
Did we see, does she have like a garden or anything to grow herbs or something when we walked
Sure.
in? Okay.
Sure.
Zeska's gonna say thank you. Sorry we cut your line. When we're done with what we have to do, I will pay your garden a visit and it will do very well.
And she nods knowingly. I appreciate that.
And Zeska's gonna look at Abel. Can you speak now?
Hurts, but I can.
What happened?
So give me a position check, because, he doesn't want to talk.
What's the opposition level?
6.
Punch him in the face.
Huh.
Talk, goddammit,
No,
talk.
that's not gonna help. Okay. I will. For outcome with cost, we'll see if I could get that. Nope. I can't.
There is a very strong level of reluctance to divulge information.
We know the guards were lying about what happened. If you won't say, then their version of events is going to become the official one.
The female soldier was trying to put hands on her. I objected, and the big brute pushed me into the tables, and That gave my sister an opportunity to escape.
So she did. And for what it's worth, I blame neither you nor her for what happened. I might have done the same thing, but that doesn't answer the question of how it happened.
He does not answer.
So what now?
If they're twins, would perchance he have the same kind of power that she does?
It is not something I can answer. It would depend on what it is that she is able to do.
Nonetheless, we should perhaps tread lightly.
I should think that were he able to tear someone's face off or break their ribs, he might have done so and not have been captured.
Perhaps these powers manifested out of sheer stress. That is not something that they're both aware of, perhaps. I'm sure when you first discovered your powers that weren't fully aware of what you were fully capable of. As a child, I mean, you're still growing. I mean, you could learn new powers. You could... I shudder to think what you could be potentially capable of as you get older.
And she's kind of looking at him because she and Gertrude have sort of been speaking just with the understanding that the other will know what they're talking about. He's just very blatantly saying, "Hey, you do magic," which is a weird thing to say. So she's not really responding to that.
You know what I'm talking about. And he winks at her.
She's not dignifying that with a response. What do we do now? We cannot. We have to find her, whether that is for her own safety or the safety of others.
And it appears we have to deal with these problematic soldiers. If this gets out, this could cause a whole incident.
I thought they were dealt with by the she-child that exploded their faces and crushed their chests.
She killed 2. There were others there.
The 4 others that were sent to the captain? If they find out that members of the company are harassing civilians, and this is the problem that we don't have time to handle. We need to focus on this war.
Well, perhaps the soldiers should stop harassing civilians then.
I'm not justifying their actions. This is a problem.
As far as those 4 go, if they have not lied to the captain, she will deal with them. If they have, then we will need to inform her of what truly took place. regardless, I think finding the sister is perhaps the most important.
You think?
So how do we do so?
I don't know. You're a child. She's a child. You both think like children. Where would you go?
She ran towards the slums. That's all I know.
Ugh, why would you go to the slums? Okay. Are we bringing him with us then?
Should we? Look, we need to find your sister. I'm sure you want to find her as well. We want to do just that. Find her. If
My sister needs help.
yes, it seems so. Will you help us find her?
She means everything to me.
So will you help us find her?
Yes. But I don't know where she's gone.
If he doesn't know, then I suppose we just go ask around. You say she needs help. It is possible to help, but if we don't know what we're dealing with, then we won't be able to. There's something you're not saying.
We escaped from the cult.
All right.
Not willing participants. We were taken off the street. I don't know where it was. Somewhere dark. They did something to her. I don't understand.
Which cult was this? I thought both of you were refugees and having that old man help you crossing into the city, not getting back into the city where the cult is.
We were escaping the city.
So, let me get this right. The old man was helping you and your sister escape the city when you were set upon by the Erenwald thugs.
Yes.
We come in. We put a stop to their dastardly plan and advise you to come with us back to the city, of which both you, your sister, and the old man agreed. Why didn't you tell us that you were trying to escape the city in the first place? This seems a little bit counterintuitive to what you guys wanted to do.
We were unable to protect ourselves. We would not have been able to survive on our own out there.
Dirk looks a little bit flabbergasted.
So they did something to her and what, when she was scared or angry, she
gets stronger somehow. I don't understand. Almost as if some part of her was removed and replaced with something else. But something went wrong. I don't know. I don't think it went how it was meant to.
Why her and not you?
I don't know.
If it's not something she's able to control, then we need to find her quickly.
Yes.
Well, at least before the cult gets her, anyway.
Do we have any other leads apart from the slums?
Well, I don't.
No.
If she's running, she's possibly running blind, so we can ask people if they've seen anyone fitting his description running through the streets.
All right, I guess we will head in the direction that Hadrick says he heard she went.
As you move through the slums, suddenly... someone roll me a d6. I will give you a thing. As you were moving through the slums, suddenly a tentacle about 8 feet from an alley flashes out and wraps around Zeska's neck. With a yank, it is pulling her towards a man dressed in a dirty purple robe. His eyes have a milky glaze, but it's clear that he can see. In his left hand is a cruel, vicious, serrated dagger, which he looks like he is going to try to plunge into the small death machine. His right arm has several wounds which have bled into a long, twisted tentacle, which is now wrapped around her neck. 3 others either come from another alley or stand from their shadowy hiding places. So he is trying to pull you to him where he's going to attack you.
So I'm making a defense check?
Yes, I would like a defense check against 5.
Okay, is this ferocity?
Well, it's a physical thing, unless you're
Okay.
doing some other...
I don't see why I...
Charismatically talking to the tentacle, saying,
Please let go,
yeah,
kind sir. I don't want to be stabbed.
I'm not
Okay.
tasty this time of year.
This time of year. I will roll the correct color of die this time and go for blue. I've had such bad luck recently. I'm going to try and roll as few as possible, which would give me an outcome with the cost, but I will do so. I did. I succeeded. It was the color all along.
Yep.
Okay, so
Okay.
I have succeeded, but with a cost.
Okay, so his whole purpose is to yank you forward. The tentacle is not something he's wearing. It has grown out of the wounds and over his hand and is a form of congealed blood. He is using that to pull you towards him where he is going to then stab you with that nasty looking dagger. You have avoided getting stabbed. How do you do that?
I will say that Zeska is physically stronger than he was expecting, considering she is a fairly young child. He has not been able to pull her close enough yet to actually stab her, but she has also not managed to completely wrench herself away from this tentacle. So it is still around her neck. That is my cost, but he has not been able to actually injure her.
Okay. This will be a player action. There is 4 of these cultists that you can see. The left hand holds the dagger, and their right arm has formed the tentacle, grown from deliberate wounds upon their arm.
Then I would like to use my dark past. I've seen too many loved ones die, and I will not let it happen again. Saving the situation once per scene, you can spend 1 soma to take a second action immediately after your main action. It cannot be used to perform an offensive action, but instead allows you an opportunity to support your comrades. So for my main action, I would like to attack. And for the other one, can I try to free her?
Yeah, okay.
So I assume ferocity.
Yes.
And what is their rank?
5.
Ooh.
They're stronger than Erenwald soldiers.
They are. Imbued with dark magic.
Okay, got an outcome of cost.
Okay, so they have a wound level of 1. You have dispatched this individual. How did you dispatch him?
Haldrick will go running down the alley. He will slice the tentacle clean in two, and then step back, raising his sword, and plunge it deep into his chest.
I would say the cost, you can't attack the next round. You're further away.
Okay.
And if you're helping Zeska untangle the tentacle from her, she will be able to act
Okay.
rather than having to spend her action doing that. 2 of the cultists charge towards Dirk, and one will try to whip you with the tentacle as the other tries to plunge his dagger into you. The opposition level is 6.
Jeepers. Okay. I want to do it just a standard outcome.
Okay.
So you need
3
8?
dice.
Then? Okay.
Ah.
You have a 5 in...
No, 3. So what is it? The opposition level is 6, you said. So I've got to roll 4 dice.
Okay.
Jeepers. Show me the money. It's
Hey,
a
I
bit
think
lopsided.
you-
4442.
Okay.
I
So
succeed.
how did you avoid the whipping and the stabbing?
He just watches them as they rush forward, and one slashes out with its tentacle on his right arm, and he just steps to the side, and the other guy comes up to stab him with his left hand in a stabbing down motion, but Dirk holds up his right front foot, holds up his right foot and just stops him in his place.
So you're going to have to roll for that too.
What's my opposition level to stab him?
5.
5. Okay, so standard outcome would be 3 dice, right?
If you start with 3.
Yeah. I'm going to roll 4 dice because I want a standard outcome with increment.
You want an outcome with increment?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, 6, 5, 3, 5. And because I got an outcome with increment, I'm going to spend another soma and use my gift Dance of Death. To skip backwards to stab the other guy in the back. Am I okay to do that, Mr. MC
Yeah.
man?
Yep.
Okay, and I want to do this with a standard outcome. So 3 dice. Oh, and I fail. Okay, gets overconfident. The first cultist looks down at Dirk's dagger waving in front of his face, and then all of a sudden the dagger is in his left eye and is pulled back out, and he's screaming on the ground. Jumps at the other cultist who stumbled past him, but the cultist had regained his composure. And as Dirk slices through the air, the cultist dodges out of the way.
The other cultist charges towards Hadrick and slashes with his tentacle, trying to cause an injury. Make me a defense check.
What is the difficulty?
5.
5. Ooh. I assume ferocity again.
Yep.
And I get 2, and I will roll 3. Trying to not die. I will not die.
Good.
Awesome. How do you avoid the whip-like tentacle?
I will grab the tentacle which I sliced off and kind of flail it at it, whapping it away.
Okay. I mean, we could give you a setback die for being off balance next time, but I don't want to punish you.
Yep. I think that's good.
I think that is something they say can be a cost as well.
I'm okay with that.
Okay. So you avoided the wound, but doing so has put you off balance. You will get a setback on your next roll in this exchange. It won't carry over to another scene. Zeska.
The only one left to go. There's 2 of them left, right?
There's 2 of them left.
Okay, then perhaps seeing that Dirk is always trying to stab 2 people at once, Zeska wants to try and use a gift of her own called Mower of Souls, which is like a slightly better version of Dirk's gift, because if I get an outcome with increment on a melee attack, I may add 1 target to that action, but I don't need to roll again because I apply the same check I just made to that target. So, what is the opposition level? Is it 5 or 5? Okay, so I want a 7. I start with a 4, and we're just gonna
Wow.
roll 3 and hope for the best.
What a pleasant child you are.
As she grins if she succeeds, as she goes by you, just killing everything in
Yeah.
sight.
Dirk's just standing there looking at the guy, just dead. What the hell just happened there?
Hey, I was
She's not even
to
looking at
stab
them.
him.
She's just looking at Dirk going, anything you can do, I can do better.
Uh-huh.
And she does.
Bloody hell.
And I do. So Zeska, who has been assisted in freeing herself from the tentacle that was wrapped around her neck, is not very pleased with these cult members. She is, in fact, quite angry that one of them grabbed her and tried to stab her. So she's going to pull out her sickle and basically whirl towards the 2 remaining cult members, and in one single motion she's going to spin, slashing both of them at the same time, cutting their throats, and having a slightly satisfied look as they both crumple to the ground. I don't know what these people are doing. I've never seen anyone... Their blood? Don't know.
Are their arms still tentacled? Are their arms still tentacled?
Mm-hmm.
This isn't normal. Dirk draws his sword and hacks off one of the arms. At the elbow. Not the whole arm, just from the elbow down. Of course, I mean, it's...
Of course. It would be silly otherwise.
Yeah.
The dead man does not object.
Okay. And he'll sling it over his shoulder.
And it bleeds on you.
Zesk is just like...
It's just like, no, I'm just thinking of Abel. He's like, okay, they just killed weird people, and now that guy's taking an arm.
Yep. And doing blood magic, and I want to have blood on me. Good. Okay.
So, Demon Child, have you seen anything like this before?
Gertrude said that this cult is different. That something is wrong.
I've heard of cults and fanatics, but this takes it to a whole nother level. This is beyond the bizarre and strange.
Okay, so, Hadrick, you find that each of them has marks cut into their flesh. These marks, though, are very much deliberate, and they definitely look like a rune of some kind. Dirk finds an oxidized steel key. He has seen similar ones that have been used to access the sewers of other cities.
Oh, a sewerage key. What a spot of luck.
How?
Well, this tells us where they are. It doesn't smell like these guys have been underneath for any length of time. Perhaps maybe a short visit or such, but...
So are we assuming that we will find her where we find these people?
Maybe they've captured her. We've had no luck. Topside, at least, anyway.
Do you know where the entrance would be that key would fit?
What? And he sort of beckons to himself and raises up, as if a golden circle had suddenly appeared above his head. Why would I know of such things? Of course, but maybe a friend of a friend of a friend of mine once found the need to travel through such a system in a city like this.
I don't care why you would know, just if you know.
And my friend thought it relevant at the time, as we were playing charades of all things, to tell me of a certain escapade he had undertaken after a certain adventure that he had been on.
If you know where it is, please show us. I don't need to hear about you and your friend playing charades.
Huh. Well, follow on henceforth, and I shall guide the way.
Zeska's following if he's going somewhere.
And Dirk can find an entrance to the Undercity. And the key fits.
And Dirk opens up the gate.
And above, the eclipse begins. The Undercity has fallen into much disrepair. Some walls and passages have completely collapsed. The rusted grating around many of them, though, suggests that the area was once a prison. The burning torches along some of the passages suggest, though, that someone is indeed still down here. You can hear the faint echo of a child crying on the air.
That's not his sister. Sounds too young. Head in the direction of the crying sound?
At the end of a short passage, you find a metal cell. The grated door is quite worn, rusted, and old. Within lies a woman, her dead eyes staring at the ceiling. Next to her is a small child.
And Dirk gets there with his tools and click, the lock unhinges from its locked position, and he opens up the grate with a whine. He doesn't whine, but the gate whines as it opens up. What are you doing down here, child? Dirk asks the little one. Oh, and I'm sorry for I presume, your mother's death. She's in a better place now.
Your mother's dead. She's in a better place now. Hello, child. Your mother is dead. She's in a better place now.
The little girl looks at Dirk with a bit of shock before she starts crying a bit harder now.
Oh, for the holy light. And Dirk turns around. I think I broke it, and walks out of the cell.
Okay, now we can get you out of here. Do you know what they wanted from you?
No.
Is there anybody else down here with you?
No.
Do you know what they're doing down here?
They wanted something from my mother, but she didn't know what, and they killed her, and they keep asking me questions about someone named Alyssa.
Well, it seems like we're in the right place. Okay.
Wait, that's the captain. What did you say, child?
I don't know.
Alyssa. What were they asking you about, Alyssa?
I don't know. They thought that I know her. I saw her once.
Dirk will step back into the room and have a look at the mother. He'll kneel down next to her.
We're from the Steel Falcons. She's our captain.
I know. You came to the city and you're supposed to stop the soldiers.
That's right. Do you know anything else about down here? Do you have anybody else you can go to?
No.
We need to get this kid out of here.
So
No,
what,
take them outside. No.
We're taking her where?
You're not going to release it into the wild, are you? At least take it back to the...
talking about?
Take it back to the old hag that was the
Find
healer.
a patrol on the street. They'll be down here. They always are. Find a patrol, hand it to them, tell them it's from the Steel Falcons, get that child somewhere safe.
Oh, Hedrick, you always got to go off and save every little child in the universe. Ugh. All right, I'll wait here for you.
Zeska will, as the lieutenant instructed, go try and find a patrol walking through the city and say, I'm from the Steel Falcons. Please take this kid. I guess at this point she'll just say take them back to the base and let Alyssa know that the kid was being interrogated about her specifically, in case they want to know that.
And a short while later, the party is reunited in
All
the
right.
Undercity.